And we're live. Stream like no one's watching. That's fine. That doesn't matter. I think Niobe wants to come up. Yep, I think she does. So we'll pop that light there. Hi. We made it. We made it to the next chapter. And I made it onto YouTube today. So we can all be very proud of ourselves. I'm so tired. I think it's the rain. It just drains all your life force away. Oh, and also, like every single video I've done before, I have not notified anybody. And I'm going to sneeze pretty soon. Wow, this is really a classic Villette episode. Here we go. Good idea. I just had a toasted sandwich myself. Sweet corn. The best toasted sandwich. It just is. Flora? Psst, psst. What are you doing? Flora? Do you need to go outside? She just doesn't care that I'm streaming. Flora? Get out from there. Get out from there. Come on. Go outside. Hey. I gotta get Flora to go outside. Come on, sweetie. You better not have been trying to do what I think you were trying to do. Oh, shush. No, you can't kill her. Right, good girls. Good girls. I know that sounded really, she sounded really upset, but don't believe it. She's only upset because Niobe was sitting on the ground right there. So it was her she was howling at, not me. Hey, Danny. I hope your day was, lightly bearable. More bearable than un. Although, yikes to your yikes to anybody still using the G word as a slur after they've been told that it's a slur. No, I kind of suspected it wouldn't have been. But anyway, right now it's storytelling time, where you guys get to sit comfortably and have a story read to you and hear me yell at people in a book. Although, haven't been many people to yell at yet. There have just been examples of Lucy Snow being such a bitch in a polite oldie worldy way. What kind of sandwich did you make, Jessie? I'm putting off doing the recap. I don't know why. Also, I'm not going grey. I think I say this in every video, but my roots are ash blonde. Thank you very much. Yes, it's Villette time, which is fairly sacred. Italian sub. Oh, this sounds nice, actually. Sounds very nice. Oh, I'm going to sneeze again. Oh, no, I'm not. Oh. That's so frustrating. But it's okay. It's fine. Right, so at the moment, brief recap. Lucy Snow has introduced us to her godmother, Mrs. Breton, of the village of Breton, somewhere indeterminate in France or Belgium. And Lucy was staying with her when she was younger. There was a little girl called Polly, who was 5 or 6, who was also staying there. And, Polly became fixated on Mrs. Breton's son, Graham, who was a teenager then, 14 or something. So she told that whole story. And then she said, anyway, I left, went home after a little while when things were, looks vapor drop. So I went home a little longer, after that, when things quieted down at my house, I could go home. And I'm going to pick up a few years later. And if you think that what was in between that time was really cool and fun for me, go ahead and believe that. That's totally your right. Anyway, I had PTSD. So I was working with... She just goes on to tell you, basically none of your business, but I was fairly traumatized. So she goes on to work for an eccentric elderly lady called Miss Marchmont, who told Lucy that she would try and do something nice for her in her will, give her some money, but died that same night. And that was where we left off last time, because Lucy Snow has the worst luck. She also has a very grim outlook on life, which I do empathize with. Why did I get a Vicks vapor drop? It's just gonna stay. I don't think these things through. I don't think anything through. Okay, hang on. I'm gonna mute it and crunch it all up. Thank you, The Flash. I had it on mute while I chew up a Vicks vapor drop and make the book swim around like it's flying in front of the camera. Yeah. It's about the ways that classic literature has been used to blunt the voices of women, much as a cold blunts the ability to speak. Your M's become B's and stuff like that. But the Vicks vapor drop represents feminism, and crunching it represents the impatience of the millennial generation. Yeah. See, I'm an artist. Just depends on what you call it. Let's rejoin our intrepid heroine, Lucy Snow, in VILLETTE, Chapter 5, Turning a New Leaf. My mistress being dead and I once more alone, she starts in very typical fashion, and I love it. I had to look out for a new place. About this time, I might be a very little, shaken in nerves. Hey, Super Bamps! You don't know that. Yeah, silencing the crunching does represent the artist's work, that's true. Hey! It's Josh B. Or other Josh, if you will. We mustn't speak of it, though. Mike, this is Charlotte Bronte. Hasn't she been through enough? I grant I was not looking well on the job hunt. I grant I was not looking well, but on the contrary, thin, haggard, and hollow-eyed, like a sitter up at night, like an overwrought servant or a placeless person in debt. In debt, however, I was not, nor quite poor, for though Miss Marchmont had not had time to benefit me, as on that last night she said she intended, yet after the funeral my wages were duly paid by her second cousin, the heir, an avaricious-looking man with pinched nose and narrow temples, who indeed, I heard long afterwards, turned out to be a thorough miser. A direct contrast to his generous kinswoman and a foil to her memory, blessed to this day by the poor and needy. The possessor then of £15, of health though worn not broken, and of a spirit in similar condition, I might still, in comparison with many people, be regarded as occupying an enviable position. An embarrassing one it was, however, at the same time, as I felt with some acuteness on a certain day, of which the corresponding one in the next week was to see my departure from my present abode, while with another I was not provided. Looking for a job, still not easy in the olden time. In this dilemma, I went, as a last and sole resource, to see and consult an old servant of our family, once my nurse, now housekeeper at a grand mansion not far from Miss Marchmont's. I spent some hours with her. She comforted, but knew not how to advise me. Still all inward darkness, I left her about twilight. A walk of 2 miles lay before me. It was a clear, frosty night. She has an inward darkness. This has a more mature, it has a more mature edgy teen feeling, but it still definitely has an edgy teen feeling. Speaking as a very mature, edgy teen. How long have I been 17? Oh, you don't want to know. That's right, Navy. I swear I will never stop being a teenage dirtbag. In spite of my solitude, my poverty, and my perplexity, my heart, nourished and nerved with the vigour of a youth that had not yet counted 23 summers, beat light and not feebly. Not feebly, I am sure, or I should have trembled in that lonely walk, which lay through still fields, and passed neither village, nor farmhouse, nor cottage. I should have quailed in the absence of moonlight, for it was by the leading of stars only I traced the dim path. I should have quailed still more in the unwonted presence of that which tonight shone in the north, a moving mystery, the aurora borealis. But this solemn stranger influenced me otherwise than through my fears. Some new power it seemed to bring. I drew in energy with the keen, low breeze that blew on its path. A bold thought was sent to my mind. My mind was made strong to receive it. Leave this wilderness, it was said to me, and go out hence. Where? Was the query. I had not very far to look. Gazing from this country parish in the flat, rich middle of England, I mentally saw within reach what I had never yet beheld with my bodily eyes. I saw London. Lucy Snow's going to London. So we shall get her big break in music hall. I like that Lucy kind of presents herself as this dour, grim little person, but she has this like this affinity for going strange and fey. It's and nobody thinks that she's even capable of having these feelings because she's just not pretty enough. The aurora borealis in this type of book, in this type of chapter, localized entirely within this paragraph. Yes, and you may not see it. No, I didn't think of it. I was thinking about the sky in Skyrim and how that's probably just as good as seeing the real aurora borealis. I don't think it is, but how would I know? Maybe. The next day, I returned to the hall, and asking once more to see the housekeeper, I communicated to her my plan. Mrs. Barrett was a grave, judicious woman, though she knew little more of the world than myself, but grave and judicious as she was, she did not charge me with being out of my senses. And indeed, I had a staid manner of my own, which ere now had been as good to me as cloak and hood of hodden grey, since under its favour I had been enabled to achieve with impunity, and even at probation, deeds that, if attempted with an excited and unsettled air, would in some minds have stamped me as a dreamer and zealot. Yeah, you can't touch it, I guess. But if you can steal a bit of the sky and drink it, you gotta run from the gods, like, forever. So I don't know if it's worth it. The housekeeper was slowly propounding some difficulties, while she prepared orange rind for marmalade, when a child ran past the window and came bounding into the room. It was a pretty child, and as it danced, laughing up to me, for we were not strangers, nor indeed was its mother, a young married daughter of the house, a stranger, I took it on my knee. Different as were our social positions now, this child's mother and I had been schoolfellows when I was a girl of 10, and she a young lady of 16, and I remembered her, good-looking, but dull, in a lower class than mine. Ah, that's kind of disappointing. Good-looking, but dull. Funny. I was admiring the boy's handsome dark eyes when the mother, young Mrs. Lee, entered. What a beautiful and kind-looking woman was the good-natured and comely, but unintellectual girl become. Wifehood and maternity had changed her thus, as I have seen them change others even less promising than she. Me she had forgotten. I was changed too, though not, I fear, for the better. I made no attempt to recall myself to her memory. Why should I? She came for her son to accompany her in a walk, and behind her followed a nurse carrying an infant. I only mention the incident because, in addressing the nurse, Mrs. Lee spoke French. Very bad French, by the way, and with an incorrigibly bad accent, again forcibly reminding me of our school days. And I found the woman was a foreigner. Yeah. Oh, well, she was pretty and everything, but she not very clever. Probably a good move to become a wife instead of, a brainiac. Also, her French was shit. It sounded so fucking bad. I was embarrassed for her. I love you, Lucy. The little boy chatted volubly in French too. When the whole party were withdrawn, Mrs. Barrett remarked that her young lady had brought that foreign nurse home with her 2 years ago on her return from a continental excursion, that she was treated almost as well as a governess, and had nothing to do but walk out with the baby and chatter French with Master Charles. And, added Mrs. Barrett, she says there are many English women in foreign families as well placed as she. Probably a good way to learn language. I stored up this piece of casual information, as careful housewives store seemingly worthless shreds and fragments for which their prescient minds anticipate a possible use someday. Before I left my old friend, she gave me the address of a respectable old-fashioned inn in the city, which, she said, my uncles used to frequent in former days. In going to London, I ran less risk and evinced less surprise than the reader may think. Less enterprise than the reader may think. Please don't burn me, Lucy, please. In fact, the distance was only 50 miles. My means would suffice both to take me there, to keep me a few days, and also to bring me back if I found no inducement to stay. I regarded it as a brief holiday, permitted for once to work-weary faculties, rather than as an adventure of life and death. There is nothing like taking all you do at a moderate estimate. It keeps mind and body tranquil, whereas grandiloquent notions are apt to hurry both into fever. A mind quilt. Just thinking about all the things that I know, because everyone thinks I can't hear them just because I don't react. 50 miles within a day's journey, for I speak of a time gone by. My hair, which till a late period withstood the frosts of time, lies now at last white under a white cap, like snow beneath snow. It's ash blonde, Charlotte. It's the lights. About 9 o'clock of a wet February night, I reached London. My reader, I know, is one who would not thank me for an elaborate reproduction of poetic first impressions, and it is well, inasmuch as I had neither time nor mood to cherish such, arriving as I did late, on a dark, raw, and rainy evening, in a Babylon and a wilderness of which the vastness and the strangeness tried to the utmost any powers of clear thought and steady self-possession with which, in the absence of more brilliant faculties, nature might have gifted me. I know. I said please and everything. She has no mercy. When I left the coach, the strange speech of the cabman and others waiting round seemed to me odd as a foreign tongue. I had never before heard the English language chopped up in that way. However, I managed to understand and to be understood, so far as to get myself and trunk safely conveyed to the old inn, whereof I had the address. How difficult, how oppressive, and how puzzling seemed my flight. In London for the first time, at an inn for the first time, tired with travelling, confused with darkness, palsied with cold, unfurnished with either experience or advice to tell me how to act, and yet to act obliged. Snow against snow, because I thought she meant like snowy white hair against a snowy white cap, but Lucy. She's just owning me so hard. Into the hands of common sense I confided the matter. Common sense, however, was as chilled and bewildered as all my other faculties, and it was only under the spur of an inexorable necessity that she spasmodically executed her trust. Thus urged, she paid the porter. Considering the crisis, I did not blame her too much that she was hugely cheated. She asked the waiter for a room. She timorously called for the chambermaid. What is far more, she bore, without being wholly overcome, a highly supercilious style of demeanour from that young lady when she appeared. I recollect this same chambermaid was a pattern of town prettiness and smartness. So trim her waist, her cap, her dress. I wondered how they had all been manufactured. Her speech had an accent, which in its mincing glibness seemed to rebuke mine as by authority. Her spruce attire flaunted an easy scorn at my plain country garb. Well, it can't be helped, I thought. And then the scene is new, and the circumstances I shall gain good. Maintaining a very quiet manner towards this arrogant little maid, and subsequently observing the same towards the past Sonic-looking, black-coated, white neckclothed waiter. I got civility from them ere long. I believe at first they thought I was a servant, but in a little while they changed their minds and hovered in a doubtful state between patronage and politeness. She's even bitchy to the chambermaid. Good. I kept up well till I had partaken of some refreshment, warmed myself by a fire, and was fairly shut into my room. But as I sat down by the bed and nestled my head and arms on the pillow, a terrible oppression overcame me. All at once my position rose on me like a ghost. Anomalous, desolate, almost blank of hope it stood. What was I doing here alone in great London? What should I do on the morrow? What prospects had I in life? What friends had I on earth? Whence did I come? Whither should I go? What should I do? Looking like a parson who is Sonic the Hedgehog, in his later years when he dedicated his life to the ministry, as we all know. I wet the pillow, my arms, and my hair with rushing tears. A dark interval of most bitter thought followed this burst, but I did not regret the step taken, nor wish to retract it. A strong, vague persuasion that it was better to go forward than backward, and that I could go forward, that a way, however narrow and difficult, would in time open, predominated over other feelings. Its influence hushed them so far that at last I became sufficiently tranquil to be able to say my prayers and seek my couch. I had just extinguished my candle and lain down when a deep, low, mighty tone swung through the night. At first I knew it not, but it was uttered 12 times, and at the 12th colossal hum and trembling knell I said, "I lie in the shadow of St. Paul's." Sonic and the Grail Knight. Yes. Have you been going fast with my wife, Sonic? Oh dear. And since these chapters are not, massively long. Oh, we're going to do another one. Chapter 6 is called London, and then chapter 7 is called Villette. So that'll be a good place to stop, I think. Pick it up again. Chapter 6, London. She's lying there on the ground, just snoring and sleeping. That's not the book. The next day was the 1st of March, and when I awoke, rose, and opened my curtain, I saw the risen sun struggling through fog. Above my head, above the housetops, co-elevate also almost with the clouds, I saw a solemn, orbed mass, dark blue and dim. The dome! And in case you don't believe me, the words "the dome" are in caps. Oh, she's so cute. Well, there's some eyes outside. Good girl. Oh. Do you enjoy that, Flora? Yeah. The dome is the cathedral. They've got a tiny silver water dish, and it's the best dish, apparently. So it's always getting emptied, and they're always going to that one first, hoping it'll be full. Really annoying. Anyway, breathe away. The dome, yeah. While I looked, my inner self moved. My spirit shook its always fettering wings half loose. I had a sudden feeling as if I, who had never yet truly lived, were at last about to taste life. And that morning my soul grew as fast as Jonah's gourd. I have no clue what Jonah's gourd is or how that simile works or what it means, but no, don't worry about it. I like the live chat. If it keeps updating, I know that I'm still online. And I like seeing comments and things. You coming up, my love? We're going to have a guest to help us. You're going to help me read Villette to the people? Oh, she's all wet. It's horrible. You're going to read Villette to the nice people, are you? Okay. Okay. Floridora. Oh, God. No, she just came up here to put -1. I would need to get rid of one cat to be a crazy cat lady. So many. No, she just came up to put dirty paw prints on my clean skirt. So it's nice that somebody cares enough to do that. I've been streaming like almost every night since Christmas. Holy shit, that's a long time. And oh God, she's just not accepting the fact that she will be fed afterwards. Stop showing them your bottom. Come here. Come here. Come here, give me a kiss. Ah. Is that good? Yeah? Niobe looks so betrayed. I think that's why she's purring. I did well to come, I said, proceeding to dress with speed and care. I like the spirit of this great London which I feel around me. Who but a coward would pass his whole life in hamlets and forever abandon his faculties to the eating rust of obscurity? Being dressed, I went down, not travel-worn and exhausted, but tidy and refreshed. When the waiter came in with my breakfast, I managed to accost him sedately yet cheerfully. We had 10 minutes' discourse, in the course of which we became usefully known to one another. He was a grey-haired, elderly man, and it seemed had lived in his present place 20 years. Having ascertained this, I was sure he must remember my two uncles, Charles and Wilmot, who 15 years ago were frequent visitors here. I mentioned their names. He recalled them perfectly and with respect. Having intimated my connection, my position in his eyes was henceforth clear and on a right footing. You are a bit like that, aren't you? Yes. If you're wondering how heavy she is, so heavy. Aren't you? He said I was like my Uncle Charles. I suppose he spoke truth, because Mrs. Barrett was accustomed to say the same thing. A ready and obliging courtesy now replaced his former uncomfortably doubtful manner. Henceforth I need no longer be at a loss for a civil answer to a sensible question. The street on which my little sitting-room window looked was narrow, perfectly quiet, and not dirty. The few passengers who were just as one sees in provincial towns. Here was nothing formidable. I felt sure that I might venture out alone. Yes, I do. I need air in my lungs to talk to the people, and you're being very heavy. Oh, she's lulling me to sleep. Oh, this isn't good. She's doing it on purpose. Having breakfasted, out I went. Elation and pleasure were in my heart. To walk alone in London seemed of itself an adventure. Presently, I found myself in Paternoster Row. Classic ground, this. I don't know how to pronounce that as a street name. I imagine it's got some kind of slurred medieval pronunciation that I could never guess. She is a sneaky kitty, it's true. But I'll just say Paternoster. I entered a bookseller's shop kept by one Jones. I bought a little book, a piece of extravagance I could ill afford, but I thought I would one day give or send it to Mrs. Barrett. Mr. Jones, a dried-in man of business, stood behind his desk. He seemed one of the greatest, and I one of the happiest of beings. Ternoster. Do you have to do that right now? She's like, yes. Yes, you know I have to do that right now. Do you want the internet to see me with ungroomed arms? Yeah, it makes look, you read the book. You read it. Prodigious was the amount of life I lived that morning. Finding myself before St. Paul's, I went in. Yeah, I'm being reminded that I am merely furniture. Finding myself before St. Paul's, I went in. I mounted to the dome. I saw thence London, with its river and its bridges and its churches. I saw antique Westminster and the green Temple Gardens, with sun upon them, and a glad blue sky of early spring above, and between them and it, not too dense a cloud of haze. Descending, I went wandering whither chance might lead, in a still ecstasy of freedom and enjoyment, and I knew not how, I got into the heart of city life. I saw and felt London at last. I got into the Strand. I went up Cornhill. I mixed with the life passing along. I dared the perils of crossings. To do this, and to do it utterly alone, gave me perhaps an irrational but a real pleasure. Since those days, I have seen the West End, the parks, the fine squares, but I love the city far better. The city seems so much more in earnest. Its business, its rush, its roar are such serious things, sights and sounds. The city is getting its living, the West End but enjoying its pleasure. At the West End you may be amused, but in the city you are deeply excited. It's weird to hear Lucy sounding so happy. Which I'm sure will be the rest of the book. No, babe, I can't see if you do that. I think I can. I don't think it's about me. I think it's about Nivy, who's just gone back to sleep again on the carpet. Anyway, it's good content. Faint at last and hungry. It was years since I had felt such healthy hunger. I returned about 2 o'clock to my dark, old, and quiet inn. I dined on 2 dishes, a plain joint and vegetables. Nice. Both seemed excellent. How much better than the small, dainty messes Miss Marchmont's cook used to send up to my kind, dead mistress and me, and to the discussion of which we could not bring half an appetite between us. Delightfully tired, I lay down on 3 chairs for an hour. The room did not boast a sofa. I slept. Then I woke and thought for 2 hours. Probably. She probably will hate it by then. Oh, she's a void feline. I always forget to wear something other than black, so if she comes up here you can see. But she seems to like sitting on my bed when I'm wearing black, so not a lot I can do. My state of mind The camera won't be picking this up, but Flora's looking like that because Niobe's snoring. Yeah, that's right. My state of mind and all accompanying circumstances were just now such as most to favour the adoption of a new, resolute, and daring, perhaps desperate, line of action. I had nothing to lose. Unutterable loathing of a desolate existence past forbade return. If I failed in what I now designed to undertake, who save myself would suffer? If I died far away from home, I was going to say, but I had no home, from England then, who would weep? Yeah. Oh, the fur's everywhere. I can't even see it. You're the one making it difficult, aren't you? Gosh, she's beautiful. Just a beautiful, spoiled thing. I might suffer. I was inured to suffering. Death itself had not, I thought, those terrors for me which it has for the softly reared. I had ere this looked on the thought of death with a quiet eye. Prepared then for any consequences, I formed a project. Le châteauflage. She doesn't like it when people speak French. I don't know why. That same evening, I obtained from my friend the waiter information respecting the sailing of vessels for a certain continental port, Bourg-Marine. Does that just mean like mud port? Can't remember. No time, I found, was to be lost. That very night I must take my berth. I might indeed have waited till the morning before going on board, but would not run the risk of being too late. Inured. Inured, it's better. It's more better. She's such a dipshit. Better take your berth at once, ma'am, counselled the waiter. I agreed with him, and having discharged my bill, and acknowledged my friend's services at a rate which I now know was princely, and which in his eyes must have seemed absurd, and indeed, while pocketing the cash, he smiled a faint smile, which intimated his opinion of the donor's savoir-faire, he proceeded to call us a coach. To the driver he also recommended me, giving at the same time an injunction about taking me, I think, to the wharf, and not leaving me to the waterman, which that functionary promised to observe, but failed in keeping his promise. On the contrary, he offered me up as an oblation, served me as a dripping roast, making me a light in the midst of a throng of watermen. So apparently men used to, I was going to say drive boats, but you know what I mean. Take boats up and down the Thames or wherever, and they were like river taxis. And they take goods, they take people, and just harass women, I think. This was an uncomfortable crisis. It was a dark night. The coachman instantly drove off as soon as he had got his fare. The waterman commenced a struggle for me and my trunk. Their oaths I hear at this moment. They shook my philosophy more than did the night or the isolation or the strangeness of the scene. One laid hands on my trunk. I looked on and waited quietly. But when another laid hands on me, I spoke up, shook off his touch, stepped at once into the boat, desired austerely that the trunk should be placed beside me, just there, which was instantly done, for the owner of the boat I had chosen became now an ally, and I was rowed off. I know. He could have gotten a foolishly princely tip as well. Black was the river as a torrent of ink. Lights glanced on it from the piles of building round. Ships rocked on its bosom. They rowed me up to several vessels. I read by lantern light their names painted in great white letters on a dark ground. The ocean, the phoenix, the consort, the dolphin were passed in turns, but the vivid was my ship, and it seemed she lay further down. Not sure I'd name anything that can catch fire the phoenix, but not my boat. Down the sable flood we glided. I thought of the sticks and of Charon. I can't pronounce it. I can't remember how to pronounce things. And of Charon rowing some solitary soul to the land of shades. Amidst the strange scene, with a chilly wind blowing in my face, and midnight clouds dropping rain above my head, with two rude rowers for companions, whose insane oaths still tortured my ear, I asked myself if I was wretched or terrified. I was neither. Often in my life have I been far more so under comparatively safe circumstances. How is this? said I. Methinks I am animated and alert instead of being depressed and apprehensive. I could not tell how it was. Ha ha, Charlotte, you used the word methinks. Hilarious. Charon, yeah. Inktown. Oh, remember LimeWire. Remember Kazaa. Sorry, I'm making more mistakes than usual because it's quite tricky to read with the book this far away from me, and my glasses are wherever they're at. Nowhere Flora will let me get to. Hey. Hey, my love. She's gonna go to sleep. The vivid started out white and glaring from the black night at last. Here you are, said the waterman, and instantly demanded 6 shillings. You asked too much, I said. Yeah. Napster, Kazaa. Incredible. I know, but I just got to pick my leg up a little bit. Yeah, that didn't hurt you, did it? He demanded 6 shillings. You asked too much, I said. He drew off from the vessel and swore he would not embark me till I paid it. A young man, the steward, as I found afterwards, was looking over the ship's side. He grinned a smile in anticipation of the coming contest. To disappoint him, I paid the money. 3 times that afternoon I had given crowns where I should have given shillings, but I consoled myself with the reflection, it is the price of experience. Crown and a shilling, obviously. English money coins. They've cheated you, said the steward exultantly when I got on board. I answered phlegmatically that I knew it and went below. God, she's such a... It's a variety of bitch that's just the grey bitch, you know? Like, she's plain and doesn't make a fuss about things, not very friendly, not unfriendly, out loud anyway. She's the grey bitch. Oh, what are you looking at now? A stout, handsome, and showy woman was in the ladies' cabin. I asked to be shown my berth. She looked hard at me, muttered something about its being unusual for passengers to come on board at that hour, and seemed disposed to be less than civil. What a face she had! So comely, so insolent, and so selfish. Now that I am on board, I shall certainly stay here, was my answer. I will trouble you to show me my berth. That's right. I can never remember English money, you know. She complied, but sullenly. I love the way every woman is described. I'm not watching Shrek ever again. I hate Shrek. She always says something nice about a woman when most of what she's saying about her is horrible. She's like, no, I said she was handsome. It's fine. I took off my bonnet, arranged my things, and lay down. Some difficulties had been passed through. A sort of victory was won. My homeless, anchorless, unsupported mind had again leisure for a brief repose. Till the Vivid arrived in harbour, no further action would be required of me. But then I could not look forward. Harassed, exhausted, I lay in a half trance. Oh, she's making me feel sleepy. The stewardess talked all night. Not to me, but to the young steward, her son, and her very picture. He passed in and out of the cabin continually. They disputed, they quarrelled, they made it up again 20 times in the course of the night. She professed to be writing a letter home, she said, to her father. She read passages of it aloud, heeding me no more than a stock. Perhaps she believed me asleep. Several of these passages appeared to comprise family secrets, and bore special reference to one Charlotte, a younger sister who, from the bearing of the epistle, seemed to be on the brink of perpetrating a romantic and imprudent match. Loud was the protest of this elder lady against this distasteful union. The dutiful son laughed his mother's correspondence to scorn. She defended it and raved at him. They were a strange pair. She might have been 39 or 40, and was buxom and blooming as a girl of 20. Hard, loud, vain and vulgar, her mind and body alike seemed brazen and imperishable. I should think from her childhood that she must have lived in public stations, and in her youth might very likely have been a barmaid. It's just this really bitchy paragraph. I mean, it was wrong of her to make so much noise when there was someone trying to sleep, but youch. What's wrong with Shrek? Oh, when the first Shrek movie came out on VHS, I was at my nana's for Christmas, and I was the older teen, so I had to watch the kids a lot. And the only thing they wanted to do was watch fucking Shrek. So, Shrek played so many times that Christmas. Oh yeah, and also it's animated. Yeah, I don't really like cartoons or animation or anything. I hate Pixar. That too. Absolutely. I hate Poison Ivy. I feel like she always makes her message very heavy-handed. But yeah, the Shrek thing, the Shrek thing is about that summer. I hated Wall-E. Oh my god, I hated it so much. I'd just been in a flat that had a cockroach infestation. And my landlady, sorry, had told us, no, none of the other flats have them. That's horrible. We'll send an exterminator. It was a converted motel. All of the other flats were connected to each other. There was no way we were the only ones. So after that, my boyfriend at the time made us watch Wall-E. And I said, no, I have a cockroach thing. And he goes, no, it's a cute one. You don't have to look at it. Yeah. Yeah. No, I hated it as well. I just thought it was stupid. No, it was stupid to have that dumb robot do whatever it did. I can't remember. I hated watching it. I hate Up. I'm just going to get that out of the way so you can all decide whether to continue tolerating me or not. I hate Up. I feel emotionally manipulative and stupid. I will not watch The Good Place. People keep wanting me to watch it, but I don't like that Kristen Bell. And also, I'm not really interested in ideas of morality and ethics being explored in a quirky way. No, thank you. Give me dragons. Give me shirtless dudes sword fighting each other, Highlander style. Give me Riverdale. Like, just complete nonsense that goes hard the whole time. I like loud, stupid, violent nonsense. But not superheroes. Fucking sick of superheroes. Although I like Gotham. Anyway. Conan the Barbarian. Yeah. Yeah, why not? Now that I'm about to be cancelled for revealing that I hated the movie Up, we can carry on. I don't even remember the rest of the movie. That was how mad I was about the beginning with the wife and the dying and everything. Stupid. Just. Well, I nearly cried knowing that there was still the whole movie to watch. Ugh. Cool. I like Archer. That's a cartoon. Yeah, no, I hated it because it felt really manipulative. It was like, oh, look at this. Isn't this cute? Oh, they're in love now. That's really cute. Oh, they're getting older. Oh, she's dead now. Fuck you. Thank you, John. Thank you. Up is terrible. Hate it. It's alright. That's not us. Hey. Then again, I'm very cynical and I hate things that kind of try to hit the emotion buzzes, you know? It's just like, oh god, I don't give a shit. But it was really funny that the kid in Up looked exactly like Kim Jong-un, and people pointed it out and he hated it. Yeah, I guess. Probably. It's like, why are you showing me this sickly sweet cartoon romance between this old man and his dead wife? Are you trying to sell me something? Is it toilet paper? I don't care. Just tell me what it is. I'll buy it. I don't want to have to watch this. And that was my review of Up. 5 stars. Oh god, I think I saw Toy Story. When I was babysitting my cousins another time. But I wasn't paying attention to it. Because it was the bits that I saw were very boring. It was about a bunch of toys. Who gives a shit? Monsters Inc. I did see, but I don't remember really any of it. I just remember being really bored. Yeah, there are things I like that are animated. The Little Mermaid. But then again, I saw that when I was 4, so I really liked that. I think that's it. Oh god, yeah, I really should finish VILLETTE. No, I do not like Disney. I don't. I saw Moana, I hated it. Well, I didn't hate it. I personally found it very, very boring. I loved that there was a Disney princess for Maori and Pacifica girls and boys. I loved that. The fact that it existed. I hated the fact that I watched it. It's just like, no, I'm so bored. I hate this. I hate this. I like The Little Mermaid because we had it on VHS when I was little. I like the really old style cartoons, the Tex Avery ones with the horny wolf and um, that little squirrel and the Betty Boop ones and such. Donald Duck and Popeye. I like that. Um, but nope, just not. And I've been made to watch a lot of anime as well, which is also just drawings. It's just drawings. Yeah. Okay, let's finish the chapter. And then you can all go online and cancel me. And then you can watch Up again and think, ugh, they really were just trying to manipulate me. How dishonest. How much further have I got to go with the chapter called London? Because it's hard for me to read this. And I don't want to get a headache. Oh yeah. Yeah. I'll do a Soulless Monsters react video where you can show me the bit from Up and it shows me reacting to it by going, dumb, boring. It's all just a drawing. That guy's a drawing. That bitch is a drawing. She didn't really die. She's a drawing. And then people will know why I was cancelled. Oh, I think I am going to. Yeah. I am going to stop reading Villette, I think, because the way Flora's sitting, it's hard for me to actually read without getting a headache. So I'll finish the chapter. We'll start the chapter London next time because I didn't get very far through it. But there is another show that I hated when I was first shown it that I will probably also get cancelled for. It was just Firefly. Yeah. Yeah, I get engaged in books, but it's because I like to picture things myself in my own head. No, that's just something I say because I think it's funny that they're all just drawings. No, I don't know why, but I'm not. I find it really hard to connect to the story or care about anything that's happening when it's animated. I don't like Pixar. I don't have to like Pixar. I never watched Pokemon or Sailor Moon. It got to New Zealand when I was about 11, I think, and I was way too grown up at that point to still be watching cartoons in the morning. But my friends were all super into it, so everyone in my generation is crazy into Pokemon and they know the names of like all the Pokemons, and I'm not. Sorry, I guess. What was I watching when I was 11? Nothing in the morning. I would always wake up really late and have to hurry to get to school and not have time to watch TV or anything. I'd liked Fruits Basket. I don't know why, but Fruits Basket is the anime that connected to me. I like it. I like the characters. I think it's funny. Bitches are so funny. Yeah. Yeah. I've seen a lot of different animes and stuff. And some of them are all right, but they don't give me anything emotionally. I can appreciate the storytelling. I often find the art very ugly. Um, but emotionally I don't really connect. But you show me a bare-chested dude sword fighting another bare-chested dude, I'm in. I'm all over that. No. I've heard about that. I've heard about Grave of the Fireflies and friggin' Princess Monotone and all the other shit. No, I'm not watching anything that's got an emotion in it. I hate that. No, there's nothing wrong with watching cartoons. There's just something wrong with people trying to make me watch Pixar and stuff all the time. No, Firefly, bad. I know it's not Princess Monotone, but you know what I mean. Yeah, no, I don't want to watch a depressing cartoon. No, I saw Serenity in the theater because it hadn't been made clear that it was not a standalone film. And I didn't like it. I found it very creepy. The way that the young girl, Summer Glau, was sexualized, I found that really creepy. And then years later, I got shown the first episode of Firefly and I just hated it. I thought the whole thing was just smug and it was smug and creepy. Yeah, to me. To me. Mm. Although I hated the movie. I was sitting there hating the movies, thinking, what the hell is going on here? It's so creepy. Also, there's a bunch of guys here wearing brown coats and blue gloves, and I don't like that. And then a bunch of major characters got killed, and everyone in the audience got really upset about it. Which, for a teenager that I was, 18 or 19 or however old I was like, good. I hate this movie. I'm glad everyone who loves it is sad. Which I never grew out of. But yes, I will watch the most appalling trash. If it's got some guys dressed up vaguely medievally hitting each other with swords. I have watched the worst stuff. Seriously. Yeah. Yeah. I still don't know if I like the Game of Thrones finale because I was just watching it and all I could think about was how upset a lot of people were going to be and how funny that would be. So I don't know if I like it or not myself. I haven't had time to form an opinion. Yeah, sword and sorcery films. So good. I'll watch a lot of trash with zombies in it. Or ghosts. Zombies and ghosts. Don't really care about demons, but I will watch stuff with demons in them. I just won't be afraid of them. Yeah, a lot of trashy horror movies I will watch. So my opinions are not, hey, I'm better than you because I don't understand drawings. My opinions are just, the kind of bullshit trash that I like is different than the kind of bullshit trash a bunch of other people like. Oh yeah, vampires almost always, yeah. Well, a zombie is a human body walking around, and a ghost is a human soul walking around, and a vampire is an inhuman soul and inhuman body walking around, I guess. Werewolves are just alive, and they're a metaphor for mental illness or puberty, or both. Okay, should I finish the chapter? I've been going for over an hour. Oh, werewolves. Good werewolf movies are hard to find, but Ginger Snaps 1 and 2 are still great. I saw the movie of Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. We watched the movie, me and my dad, and he's being trained to hunt vampires by I think it's Abraham Van Helsing. We're just not supposed to worry about it, I think. I can't remember. And part of his training is learning how to do these insane flips and parkour things and that. And it's just never explained. It's not like, oh, now you have the power of a vampire to do flips. It's just like, no, in this world, everyone can pretty much do flips. It's fine. It was a really enjoyable movie, apart from the very troubling storyline about how the Confederacy was all vampires. It was either taking it too lightly or making the metaphor too heavy-handed. But, you know, I think they should have just accepted that they didn't really have the ability to cope with a subject like that. But, yeah, a universe where everyone can do flips. Very funny. I tried to read Pride and Prejudice and Zombies when it first came out. The guy who wrote it, he had no idea how to match his prose to Pride and Prejudice. And his own prose it really sucked. It was really bad. I could, I suppose. That's not illegal, is it? No, as long as you don't package it with the movie. Right. Oh, I bought myself a tiny gift the other day. I wanted you guys to see it. Just before we wrap this up. Come on, where are you? I promised the people. Haha. Oh, no. No, because then I'd have to watch them. No. Seth Graham Smith. Was he the one who did Pride and Prejudice and Zombies? I don't think he was. I think he did Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. Anyway, I bought myself a hair clip that just says no thanks. How good is that? I'd have to mirror it or something. You can just slide that right in there. No thanks. Oh, that's my favorite part about watching horror movies with my dad. Just always yelling about how we would totally kick the ass of all the villains and like the smart thing to do and everything. No thanks. Yeah, I think I might put a pin on the back of it and use it as a brooch. Because it's funnier that way. And you can wear it, wear it on a hat. Could still use it as a hair slide. Pretty good, I think. But yeah. So that was that was your daily Villette. You're welcome. Uh-oh. Bing. There it goes. Yes, that was Villette for today. I am now too tired to finish off the chapter. But I have exciting news about a Tingle Mingle that is upcoming. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it's going to be great. So, get excited. Thank you very much, you guys, for joining me. Thank you very much for bearing with me when I couldn't read the story because of the cat. And yeah, tune in tomorrow. I gotta go feed the cats before they eat me. Thank you all for being here. Just look after each other. Wash your hands. If I'm not cancelled, like completely. Oh, I'm going to go the way of J.K. Rowling. I knew it. I love your company too. Okay, bye everyone. See you tomorrow.